Well, 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 it is that time. Our final run of the day is ready. So stay tuned, stay in your seats, turn the volume up, get comfy, grab your food, grab your water, because it is indeed time for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, any percent restricted by the fabulous the Kovic. Kovic, take it away for the final time.
Hello, I have the great honor of closing out the marathon with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and let's just get into it. I will start a new save profile. We will play on light difficulty in terms of speed, so we'll start in 3, 2, 1, go. I said go. Skip the initial cutscene and let's get into it. So this is the latest, maybe greatest, Indiana Jones game that released, and it is a first-person game, and we start off in the beginning section of the Raiders of the Lost Ark movie. It's like a little tutorial homage. So immediately the first speed thing we have to manage is stamina, because we do a lot of running and sprinting in this game. Thankfully, unlike the previous indie game, we get to skip cutscenes most of the time.
Relax.
The thing about managing stamina is that you do not want to hold the sprint key while mid-air, because for whatever reason that makes all the stamina drain pretty much instantly. So I am trying to bump into rocks and stuff as little as possible. And yeah, we will just make our way through the jungle. Now I have to say, unlike the Infernal Machine, this game is not too much broken, although slightly broken. That's the reason why we have two categories at the moment. There is any percent and any percent restricted, and the difference between them is that there is a launch glitch involving basically going inside NPCs, and then you get launched in the air at ludicrous speeds. And that trick is used in 2 places in the run, and it is very inconsistent since you're depending on enemy AI, and also frame rate dependent. So somebody with a weaker PC might not be able to perform those tricks, and those are the reasons why we have decided to make a category that doesn't use those tricks, and that's the restricted category. So we'll be still doing some glitching and some skipping, just not that one in particular. There's a lot of tiles here that make shoot arrows, but you can just barely jump over them like that. And if you've seen the movie, you know what's going to happen here. We have to throw the idol to Satipo to get the whip, and turns out he's lying and he didn't give us the whip, so we have to jump into the chasm, barely grab it. But now it turns out that this is all a dream anyway. We're not playing Raiders of the Lost Ark, we are actually playing the Great Circle. So we awake about half a year later in America, in Indy's college where he works. And the plot is about to thicken. So I'll just do a little parkour. Okay, never mind. You did not want to vault there. And this is Locus, and he's a giant who works in a secret order in the Vatican. And he came here because for some reason he really wants a particular cat mummy, and we have to punch him and get grabbed twice, and on the second grab we get this cutscene, and we can continue with the story. Now we have a first puzzle in the game. It's a simple one. We just have to take all these treasures and put them in the right spot, and we can continue. Now a mechanic in this game is the adventure points, which you get for collecting certain nodes and treasures and other collectibles. And you can use the adventure points to get upgrades from adventure books, which are another type of collectible. Now we won't be getting too many adventure books, but there are 3 that we will collect. One is the Pep book, that increases the stamina regen speed, which is incredibly useful in a speed run, just to let us sprint more often. And the second one is the Brawler Book, which we will find 2 copies of in order to deal more damage in hand-to-hand combat. And so on that table I picked up a first little note just to get a few adventure points, and throughout let's say the first 2 parts of the run we will be collecting a bunch more notes to be able to get those upgrades, because they also get more expensive, or rather every book has a different adventure point cost, and the ones later in the game cost even more points. So altogether I need like 1200 points to get the upgrades. And that, it sounds like a lot of extra effort, but actually over the run it's worth it. It saves a lot of time on the final boss, especially the damage upgrades, as well as the sprinting upgrade.
Stop. Vatican not safe. Stop. We'll wait for you at village steps.
But now we
Subtlety.
left the
Stop.
tutorial section and we go into the first actual part of the game, which is the Vatican. We start off in the night section in this little fortress, and we will see some proper Indiana Jones parkour, which is a big part of this speedrun. Guess he interrupted the animation. Go away. So when I'm climbing the whip like this, I'm deliberately facing the camera sideways, because I don't want Indy to go into a animation where he props up his legs against the wall and sort of walks up the wall, because that animation is slower than the one where he is manually holding the whip and just pulling himself up with his arms. It's a small optimization, but it adds up over the course of the run. Now we want to just run past all the enemies, not fight at all if possible. Run up here. And here I will skip... whoa! What? Why did I go so much sideways? That's never happened before. The classic... Oh my god. Unfortunately, because I was aggroed, I didn't get a single checkpoint throughout that part, so I will have to repeat that section. That is unfortunate. But that's why I have an estimate that leaves a bit of room for error. It's a little similar to Infernal Machine in that regard, because this game uses a checkpoint system and you have no quick saves. There is the potential to lose a huge amount of time for a silly mistake, but it is what it is. Okay, try number 2. There we go. No weird velocity this time. Now, what we are looking for is Indiana Jones' friend Antonio, who is a priest, and he's going to smuggle us further into the Vatican. And we are nearly there, just need to go to the window in here, and I will grab this pole with the whip. Come on, yes. And Bluetooth grab this zip line. Now we can jump around here, and this is a crouch slide that you can do. When you slide off an edge of some platform, you get a little bit of speed boost. Here we go. This is Antonio. Now we will have to do a little bit of waiting for Antonio to give us some story exposition.
fascists are everywhere. Shameless.
Maybe I should explain. If you're wondering why Antonio has this blue outline around him, there is an accessibility option in the game menu called High Contrast Mode, which gives you these outlines around interactable objects, and I have it enabled because it's useful in locations where the game is dark, especially one in the Giza chapter.
I'm looking for someone. A tall fellow.
Tall fellow. Well, there is Giovanni, the chef. He is quite tall, and his risotto ai funghi is...
Very tall. Like a giant. He stole something from me, and I mean to find out why.
What did he steal?
Well, a cat mummy. Very unusual for where it was found. And the thief left behind his Vatican calling card.
Vatican robber in Connecticut. That seems a bit far-fetched, don't you think? Can I see this calling card?
What do you make of this?
There you go. And now Antonio will give us a disguise, the first disguise in this game, which is the priest disguise. There's a stealth system in this game.
Lead worth following.
You can sneak around enemies and you can put disguises on to not be immediately recognized as Indiana Jones. It doesn't really come up in the any % speedrun, but there is also categories where you have to get some of the collectibles and also 100%. And there it's very useful to be able to run past enemies without being recognized. Right, I have to take this candle, otherwise I will not be able to collect items here in this underground library, dungeon, whatever. I can grab that circle through the door. Don't ask. And that was the ancient relic, which gives a lot of adventure points. Now we also have to get these notes. And by being very fast with picking up these notes, it actually skips portion of Antonio's monologue here. And he gives me the key faster, this key. And we need this clerical key to be able to open particular doors. And you also need to be in the priest disguise to be able to use the key. So now that we have the key, we can continue with the first big skip of this section, where we actually skip the first
Sure it will.
temple or dungeon, or what you want to call them, of this Vatican area. This is the first hub area of the game, and we will skip that, and we will go straight to the cutscene where we meet Gina, who is Indy's companion in this game. And we need to meet her, otherwise the second and final dungeon of this section is not loaded and is not available. I just little side quest in the tent to pick up the pep book, as you can see, which is the stamina regen book. But I don't have enough adventure points yet to upgrade it. I aggroed that soldier now, because for the next trick I need to be aggroed by enemies, because I will do a very precise jump on a window and use the window to get enough height in order to jump through a ceiling, which is not actually a ceiling, and then get out of bounds to do the skip. But when you're not aggroed, Indy in this section, he will do a crouch every time you jump, which breaks this trick. So I lowered my FPS to 24 now, and I will sort of mantle this table or whatever, and then jump at the right moment to get a bit of extra height and be able to jump on top of this window. It is a very precise trick. Almost there. There we go. Now I will jump on the chandelier, and from here I can jump through the ceiling with no collision. Now I'm on top of the level, and now I just need to fall back in bounds and open this door to get to Gina. There are some nuns in the way here, but if I hold forward and jump, eventually they will lose collision and let me past. Get this card for extra adventure points, and this is Gina. Skip the cutscene, but we also have to watch through the binoculars here for a bit. Cannot skip this. And then the cutscene will continue. This is the guy on the left, that is Voss, who is the main antagonist of this game. He is a German rival archaeologist who is looking for the titular Great Circle and the stones that are connected with it. We'll see more of him later. But now I will make my way to the other side of the map in order to enter the second and final temple of the Vatican section. Another card. And I will also go and collect the first Brawler book to get the damage upgrade. Book is right here next to the Fight Club. Rule 1, we don't talk about the Fight Club. I will skip a little bit of a platforming section by jumping on this ledge, and now I will change my costume to the indie costume, and I am just barely able to reach and interact with this claw, which triggers a cutscene. And now the scaffolding is rearranged and I can jump up here normally. Get these bandages because I need a lot of health for an upcoming trick. Yeah. First I need to put the claw in. Duh. So we need to rotate these two dragon statues in order to open the entrance to the temple. Now there's actually also a puzzle that you need to solve after this, but that's a puzzle that we can skip with some more out-of-bounds shenanigans. There we go. It's opening. Also need to yank this statue, and now, while the wall is rotating, I will heal myself. So we need to jump up this statue. Now out of bounds. Ooh, almost fell down. And now I will line myself up very precisely on this torch. If I just run forward, I can land on the torch and not die. So you can notice in the bottom left corner. Oh no! Ooh, saved. You can notice in the bottom left corner, I have my health. And there is a last little yellow bar, which is from... It's an extra bit of health from the indie costume. Which means if I'm wearing indie suit, I have a little bit more health, which is extremely useful whenever you need to fall down like this. And you can also see that the final health bar always regenerates in indie suit. So I can use that to squeak out a little more health than I would have in other disguises. Okay, another out of bounds trick. I grab that chandelier and I then grab the wall here, because once again, the ceiling here does not have collision. Now, most of the ceilings do have collision. It's just very few ones in the game where they didn't put collision in, and we can use those to get out of bounds. Here I got a checkpoint, and I will quit out of the game and then wait for about 1, 2, 3 seconds and load back in inbounds with Gina. It's very important to wait there, otherwise Gina doesn't spawn.
In the Book of Enoch, the Nephilim
And that skipped the entire second dungeon, and we just have
cleanse the earth.
a boss fight coming up, and we will be done with the Vatican section.
Are we trapped? Is this a dead end?
How does that make sense?
There are a couple of times in this game where we need Gina to interact with doors and such in order to enable us to progress.
It's the same
She
symbol
needs to
I found in the library.
look at it first, and then we are able to
I do have friends.
clear the hole and put the medallion in.
How did you...
There we go. So the boss fight is Locust the Giant once again,
Bill quick.
and we will defeat him in the traditional Indiana Jones way by bringing pistol to a fist fight. He just survived 6 straight headshots. I also need to hit him with the pistol, and I broke it, but that's fine. I collected a repair kit earlier in the run,
We don't want to be here when he wakes up.
so I will be able to repair it and use it
Hey,
later.
Following the Nazis. Back to Pisa.
back.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, Gina, please open the door. There's a lot of notes in this room, which is very useful because with my route I will just barely be able to get the pep upgrade now.
I cannot open. Do you still have that pendant of yours, Dr. Jones? I'm invisible.
Which I think is useful for the next section, as well as the rest of the game. So to leave Vatican, we need to board the airship that Voss arrived to Vatican with. Which means we will do a little bit of platforming. Nice. I tried to jump as far to the right as I could while still being able to whip in order to grab this ledge as far right as possible, because that way I have to spend less time in the shimmy animation, which is not the fastest animation. There are upgrades that make it faster, but unfortunately they're not really on our path during the speedrun. This guy is Hans, he likes to be in your way. But he was pretty nice this time. Thanks, Hans. Now we have another shimmy section, and this is the part where the stamina regen saves a bit of time, because we need to regen all the stamina in order to be able to make it all across this bar without Indy running out of stamina, which makes him do a stumble animation and wastes a bunch of time. So with the extra stamina regen speed, we don't have to wait very long for him to get the full stamina.
Yes, Ethan! Help me up!
Wait! Don't move! I said don't move!
I'm okay! Thanks for asking!
There we go, and we are on our way to the second big hub of the game, which is the Pyramids of Giza. We have a very nice sequence break in this hub because when you play as intended, you are supposed to
What's your plan?
first collect 4 stone tablets called the Stele, and then an NPC will smuggle you into the German camp, but we will skip collecting all the Stele and just make our way into the German camp ourselves using some parkour.
Okay, so how are we gonna find your contact?
However, first we are required to meet the NPC, who is called Lady Naval, because otherwise there is a big sandstorm all around the desert, preventing you from really going anywhere. So a very important objective, we need to feed the snake. There we go, objective finished. I will make a picture. This is the camera. The camera is an important item that you are supposed to buy in the Vatican. We never did, but the game gives it to you anyway. And
Mistaken Marge was
going forwards, you are sometimes required to use the camera to get clues in the environment, in some puzzles, and then you can also photograph random things to earn adventure points. So I made a picture of the snake to get adventure points. And you also get adventure points when you make the story required picture as well. So thanks to that, I will be able to earn those required adventure points that I need to get those damage upgrades. This is the part where the stamina regen is very handy, because we need to run all the way across the desert to reach the German camp. The secret path is to go as straight as possible, but also try to avoid all the Germans so that we don't get aggroed. Take it nicely around the edge of the camp. You can see how much faster the regen is with the upgrade compared to before. I hope I won't run out of stamina at a bad moment, because there is a German patrol to my right here, and I really don't want to get discovered. I think this will be close, but it should be fine. Thankfully, since we're playing on the easiest difficulty, they are very blind. This is a fast travel point, so I need to approach it in order to tag it to be able to use it later. That way we will not have to run across the desert twice. Okay, and this is the parkour, so I lower my FPS to 25 and I make a wall jump, and I did it first try, so I barely had enough time to even explain it. And that's the tough part done, because here's another closed gate, but this one is actually super simple to bypass. I just need to climb up on this booth and jump over the fence. There are invisible walls everywhere where there are fences, apart from the little section where the gate actually opens. Alright, I will collect some bread. I didn't explain the food in this game. There are, apart from bandages, there's also food in this game. There's fruit, which gives you extra stamina, which sounds really nice, but it depletes extremely fast, so it's basically not worth. But then there is bread, and bread works like single-use extra health. You can basically think of it as armor, and that is extremely useful. So I picked up that bread to use later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I count to 6 here to make this German go forwards enough so that I can beat him up without aggroing the rest of the camp. pick up these revolvers, bullets for later, and now I can activate this hatch. And in order to be able to use the hatch, you must not be aggroed, so it's very important to be stealthy in this section. Alright, and now we can go into Voss's office and find out some important things about the story. And Gina is supposed to be here, but because of all the skipping, she's not here. But actually, she will spawn right about now-ish. There we go. I just saw her.
The one stones in the secret monastery. Interesting bedtime reading. Huh. Document about a Nazi.
Okay, we are required to pick up all those notes. And now we just have to wait a little bit where we can make a photo and then continue. So in the meantime, I will eat all my food.
There's something happening out there.
And this voice line is the clue. And we are able to make a picture of Voss. And now Gina will open the door. Let's go. Now we need to make a run for his office, and that's on the other side of the camp. And there are a lot of Germans in the way, which is the reason why I took all that food, because I don't want to die. Yeah, now he aggroes me. We have to run very fast. Jump here to skip the ladder, because the ladder climbing animation is extremely slow. And we can use the key we got from the office to get into here. And barely be able to use this plank to enter a cutscene and go forward. Now, Gina is playing with Voss, but I just need to make a photo of this giant. Please, game.
I think it's time we found that
Now, the funny consequence of all the skips we did is that now the game is kind of broken, because Gina is supposed to be here and open some doors for you. So we would not be able to escape normally, but thankfully we can grab up here and escape through the window in the roof. And now jump here, which is where you are supposed to go, and we can escape the camp. And another consequence of the sequence breaks is that Naval here is supposed to destroy this tunnel and make a cave in, but she never does. So we can just run through, which saves a lot of time, because otherwise we would have to crawl under a lot of rocks. So it's nice how that works out.
Who, Gina? Bless you.
So now we have advanced in the story enough for the game to allow us to photograph the Dream Steely, which is next to the Sphinx. And after we make photos of the Dream Steely, we are able to enter the final dungeon and start exiting Giza. As you can tell, we are able to do sequence breaks, but there are a lot of conditions that we still have to fulfill. Otherwise, certain parts of the story are just blocked off and you are not able to continue. So even in the any percent category,
Better make sure there's no stones left unturned in Giza first.
you sometimes have to activate some
What do you say?
things in order for the game to let you progress. Even if you were to magically teleport to the end, sometimes it would not be active and the game would not change levels. But that is not the case for us. We just need to buy the lighter, or I had to buy the lighter there, because we need it to be able to solve the puzzle in the final dungeon. Okay, and now some RNG, because this German patrol can spot me, which would be very sad.
Somehow that giant's tattoo is the key to
Because I need to not be aggroed in order to be able to use the fast travel. So if they spot me, I will actually have to run all across the desert again, which is very slow. Final picture. And he's off. And I did not get discovered. Perfect. So we will fast travel here. Very nice. I will make a quick detour into the German camp here to get the second damage upgrade book. Made a big fuss, but it's not a problem. Almost there. The final dungeon is in a little hole in the ground.
There has to be something here.
We need to get the hammer in order to break the wall here. Will I be able to slide? Yes. Nice.
This isn't a tomb. What purpose did it serve? Here's a piece of a tablet. Here you go. Looks like a demic. But I should consult Dr. Lombardi's notes. I should take photos of all these words.
There's a bunch of tablets on the wall, and we need to make photos of each of them.
He's shot.
And to make photos of these two, we also have to light the flames there,
It's react on
which is why we need the lighter. That's all of them. So now we place the photos on this altar, and if we say the words in the right order, the chamber will activate and reveal a cavern.
Gina? Gina? If you're up there, I could use some help.
Whee! So I will quickly make my way through this cavern, and here we see a puzzle mechanic with mirrors that reflect shafts of light. This is a little primer, and now comes the main course. And this is the main puzzle in the speedrun, where playing on easy difficulty in terms of puzzle difficulty is very useful, because what the puzzle difficulty does is it makes the puzzles less complex with less combinations. So if you played on normal puzzle difficulty, you would have to make 3 different symbols using combinations of life shafts pointed at those 6 discs. You'd have to make 3 different ones in order to open the door. But on easy, there is just one combination that you have to make. So we only have to visit each of these mirrors holders once. Place it in, and the last shaft is already pointed where we need it, so don't even have to fiddle with it. And while the door is opening, I have time to purchase the upgrades for my damage, melee damage to be precise. see if I get nice slides here. That was 1. That was 2. Very nice. Sometimes you can get stuck for sort of no reason, and you get no speed out of the slides, but this was nice. Let's just do some movement to get through this cavern and make our way towards the boss fight of this section, which is the Blind Guardian, which in my opinion is the most difficult boss fight in the game, harder than the final boss. So the Blind Guardian, he is blind, but he can hear you, and when he grabs you, he just makes a cutscene where he gives you a bunch of damage, and then he knocks Indy out and he teleports somewhere else in the room. Well, not really teleports, but while Indy is knocked out, he changes location, which is functionally a teleport. So, in order to not waste time, I need to not get grabbed, basically. Now, before I can fight him, I need to touch these pressure plates again, because that makes the statue active. So let's see if I can shoot him. That was a miss. That was a miss. Okay, not the greatest there. Now I will use these sticks, these pipes, to hit him twice with charged attacks, and now I need to retreat, otherwise he would insta-grab me. There we go. That's the first one. I will need to use a second one as well. Nicely done. Don't grab me. Yes. Ah, unfortunate. So now you will see how he teleports. So even though I missed, I'm gonna hope that I can finish him off with just punches. Or maybe not. Let's play it safe and take the pipe, since it's just there. There we go. He's had it. Now we can loot him for the pendant. For some reason this cutscene plays twice sometimes. Okay, that was decent enough. Only got grabbed once. And now we can grab the Idol of Ra, which is not really important, except that it has one of the 12 stones of the Great Circle, which are the MacGuffins that Indy is looking for in this game. As is tradition, after you get the artifact, the whole temple collapses. So we need to make our escape. And it turns out that Indy kind of messed up, because we were stuck in the sand, and Voss found us and he took our stone. Which is another Indiana Jones cliché, where by interfering in the story, he doesn't actually make the thing better. So unfortunately this is the cutscene that we cannot skip, because technically we are in control. We just can't do anything, really.
Wenn Sie unbedingt darauf bestehen, aber vergessen Sie nicht. Ihr Erfolg würde nicht nur mich, sondern sicherlich auch den Führer zufriedenstellen. Jawohl. Bitte ziehen Sie sich warm an. Jawohl. Hallinda! Haben Sie aufgepasst, Bergmann? Erst Gegenwehr, dann etwas Bestätigung. Und der willensschwache Mann schwört seine unsterbliche Treue.
Just you wait about 30 minutes, We get to punch him.
We wouldn't want you to catch a sunburn, would we, Dr. Jones?
How could things get any worse? He wonders. There's the answer.
No, no, no. Get away. Come on. Come on, this isn't...
I noticed that I still have 2 green health bars, thanks to the very good run through the German camp, which is very important because for the major skip in the final level, we require all the health, and I mean all the health. That means full active health as well as full inventory of healing items. Otherwise, the skip is not possible.
Dr. Jones!
You will see when we get there why all the health.
He's losing consciousness, Gina!
There we go. Gina finally got here, and she will take us out
Dig faster!
of the sand dune. And we will continue not straight into the third hub, but there is a section of 2 levels which are linear. I like to call this the intermezzo of this game. You get a little bit, when you're playing it casually, you get a little bit of a break in terms of sprawling, non-linear levels. It's funny because in a casual playthrough, these 2 levels would be negligible part of your playtime, but in the speedrun, it ends up being a 1/5 of the run. Actually, a little bit more than a 1/5, since the world record for this game is just 1 hour and not even 12 minutes. Unfortunately, in this section of the game,
What were you doing?
we have a very limited moveset, as we're trudging through lots of snow.
That bridge looks unstable!
I hope I said the verb right.
Right first.
Let me know in the chat if my English is terrible or not.
Watch out! Okay?
So unfortunately there's not much we can do to make this go faster, apart from one trick coming up. But first we go right here to take a shortcut,
Get out of here!
because I think it's pretty obvious that you're supposed to go left, but you can go right and reach the same cavern, and Gina teleports, which is nice from her. Alright, but coming up, a little skip, and the only skip in this map, where we need to shimmy over that bridge. And usually Gina goes first, so she blocks you,
Then I'm not crazy.
but we will be able to jump ahead of her. But first I need to wait on her to make an animation here. There we go. And now I can break this bridge. If I did it first, she would teleport to the bridge to grab it, but then get teleported back to do that climbing animation. And that, because that teleports her backwards, it basically breaks her pathing and softlocks the game. So it's important that you wait for her a little bit. And yeah, then I did a jump and just turned around mid-air to grab the ledge. skipping all the shimmying and also getting in front of Gina. And now we make our way to a German battleship in Himalayas. How strange. I wonder what happened here. Ordinarily I would let the cutscenes play to explain it, but that is slow, so I will explain the story. So it turns out that the stones are magic. Who saw that coming? And they are magic with the power of teleportation. So when the Germans found one of the 12 or 17 stones, I'm not exactly sure how many there are in the story right now. When they were researching the stones, they accidentally teleported their battleship from the coast of Peru all the way to the Himalayas. Not on purpose, they didn't really know how to control it. But that is basically the Nazi battle plan, master plan in this story. To gather all 17 stones and discover targeted teleportation. And then they can teleport the German army anywhere instantly and conquer the world. Very, very devilish stuff. So obviously we have to stop them. We will boost Gina up, and that will trigger a cutscene that will load us into the next map, which is the inside of the ship. For some reason I can never slide there, I don't know why. Grab the pipe to be able to break this ice. And get this wheel. Now we can use the wheel to open the next door.
I'll get this out of the way.
And once again, we have to wait for Gina. She's the worst part of this game.
Coming.
I can't hold this for long.
Somebody give Gina some Red Bull. A little teleporting German there. There will be one more soldier. And we need to kill him first, so I will knock him down with the whip and then punch him. And we can move on. Gina can take care of the other guy. Alright, and this is intended to be a stealth section, but with some clever routing, I can run past everyone and hopefully not even get aggroed. Not quite. But it's not a big issue. Alright, coming up is a little puzzle where we have to break the anchor chains. You're supposed to move all the way around this room, but you are able to grab them from these unintended places and solve the puzzle very quickly. So we get to move on. Thankfully we don't need Gina for the rest of the level, so we can just move at our own pace. Once again run past everybody. And then coming up is a combination puzzle where you are supposed to actually use the encoding principle of the Enigma machine in order to discover the passcode. But the passcode is always the same, so we can just input 366, the number of the beast, and enter the bridge. This is where we find the stone that they used to teleport this ship. Unfortunately, because of things that happened in the cutscene, the ship is now sliding down the edge of the mountain at ludicrous speed. However will we get out of this one? First, I will try to grab this ledge. Ooh, that was very close. I'll climb up to this bar, and now we have to wait for Gina once again. And it turns out that there is no escape, so in their desperation, Indy and Gina will use the stone. Indy will use the stone by speaking some words in an ancient language that he learned about earlier in the story. And doing that will activate the stone and teleport them to somewhere. I will not spoil it. I will let the reveal play out, just because it's cool. So that's where we are. Interesting. I mentioned this is the linear intermezzo. We are in the second part. This one is shorter. And also we can sprint now, which is nice. Soon we will meet a random samurai. A Japanese soldier. And this is supposed to be a reference to the scene in Raiders where you shoot the guy who has a sword, but we can just one-hit him with the punch thanks to the damage upgrades. And now I will attempt a skip, which is the bane of my existence. We want to do it to skip past Gina, so I need to grab this, and then I will carefully aim there and grab this. Perfect, first try. I had to practice it yesterday a whole lot in order to get it consistent, so I was really struggling. But now we are ahead of Gina, although we do have to wait for her a little bit. There we go, she is following us, so we can move on. I will slide down here to skip a little cutscene.
Let's get out of here.
And now I will stand here and once again wait for Gina. You could also just run ahead and reload the checkpoint, and that usually spawns her in, but the problem is usually. So I have started to actually just wait for her a little bit throughout, and I feel like that is more consistent than relying on the checkpoint. Once she goes past that ledge, we can be sure that she will make her way here, because we need her to fly this plane. Once she gets in, I will whip the tail of the plane. And we can fly out of here. Ah, turns out I was standing slightly too far. Alright. Coming up is an important section of every modern game, which is the turret section. Yay! However, at least we get to reenact that scene from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where Indy's dad has a turret section. Hello, Chris. Happy to see you enjoy this Indy speedrun.
Make up your mind. Wow, what happened?
Oops, I shoot my own tail. That's the reference. It was interesting to hear the developer commentary on this section, where they said that even though you just fly above the city and you don't really see a lot of it, they took care to make it very detailed and realistic, just to give the player that immersion. I think that was the last plane that we have to shoot down, because eventually we are required to leave this plane, because it's frankly shredded. So this is very silly, I think. Hot swap. Although I like this next part with the flying Japanese. Whee! And now we, say it with me, wait for Gina! But alright, this is the end of the level, finally. So now we have only 2 levels left. The first one is Sukhothai, which ordinarily is the 3rd hub of the game, and possibly the longest one. However, we have a huge skip. We will skip the entire thing pretty much immediately. Which is wonderful. But first, we spawn in this hotel that is supposed to get attacked by the Italian soldiers here. However, we are able to skip that sequence as well, with a very strange trick where I will jump off a balcony while activating the camera, and for some reason that makes Indy's hitbox smaller so that I can avoid a death plane.
Thanks.
See you in the morning.
I just took all that bread so that I have the required health for the final level, like I said earlier. Alright, this is the balcony, and I will take the camera and I will line myself up looking at this tray and then the 4th pillar, and I will jump and activate the camera, and now I can get past the death planes and land down here, and that skips the hotel, and we can go to this boat here and travel to the village.
ก็บอกไปแล้วว่าที่เนี่ยไม่มีกบฏเพราะถ้ามีใครเห็นน่ะฉันก็คงจะแจ้งไปแล้ว
There's also another way to do that hotel skip without using the camera, and then you get to run along the edge of the map and go into the village on foot, which actually skips this part where we are sitting in the boat. But actually, just taking the boat and waiting for a minute here is faster than all that running, because the village is actually pretty far away in terms of worlds, like in-game world space, world area.
มากับใครน่ะ
I never noticed how dirty Indy's nails are. It makes sense, since he's sticking his fingers into all those artifacts. Okay, now we just need to go into the chieftain's hut right here. Skip the cutscene, and now we go into daytime, which is another map, technically. Now we have to wait for Gina to stop yapping with the villagers before we can use the boat. So in the meantime, I will go visit the local doctor and stack on bandages. So now we have completely full health items for the final level. And we need to take the boat. We need to make our way across to the other end of this map, where there is a temple that you are normally supposed to visit. And in front of the temple, underwater, there is just randomly a bit of geometry that doesn't have collision. So we are able to swim out of bounds. And from there, we can do just a few jumps to get to what is essentially the edge of the map, and then we can run and jump towards the level exit cutscene from the other side and skip everything. So this is a massive skip. If you were to play this normally, it would take half an hour easily. And out of interest, and because I was routing the all ancient relics category, which collects all 50 relics and unlocks the secret ending by opening the vault door in the final level. Unfortunately, I will not be able to show you the vault door because of the big skip that we will do in the final level. But there's a big door that you need to solve a puzzle using those 50 relics to open. So when I was routing there, I was looking into this level from a different perspective, and I found that you cannot really skip your way through this level and its dungeons when you play it normally. So we are very fortunate that this skip is a thing, and unfortunately the developers patched it in update 3. Right now the latest version of this game is update 4.1, and they patched this skip in update 3 along with some skips in the Vatican as well. So we are speedrunning this game on update 2, and if you want to speedrun, you need to down patch. So if you want to speedrun, you basically have to buy this game on Steam, because the other platforms do not allow you to down patch. But this is the hole, and this is how we swim out of bounds. You need to rise quickly to the surface of the water in order to not take damage from drowning. Okay, and now this is nerve-wracking, because I need to make my way towards this little gap in the rocks, and I need to grab the edge, and I need to not fall down into the hole behind the ledge, behind the gap, because if you fall down there, you cannot get back out of there, and you have to reload the checkpoint, and the last checkpoint is all the way back in the village. So I took it very carefully there, and it was very nice, no fails. Now I just need to run up this hill. It's kind of like playing Skyrim. You find the walkable polygon. But now we are beyond the borders of the playable space in this map, and we get to run around the edge here until we get to the level exit. There is one more betrayal that the game can throw your way, one more wrench, because I will need to jump across some bushes. And I've once found out that there is another of those holes in between those bushes. One of those holes where you cannot get out of. So, very important not to fall down there. Ow! I took damage, that's unfortunate. Now, 1 damage is fine. I can abuse the final health bar, or the final portion of the health bar, which can regenerate if you're wearing Indy's suit. So the final skip will still be possible. I will just have to wait in the middle of it for a little bit to regenerate the required health. If I lost 1 more health, then I would be in trouble. But this is fine. Okay, this is the final level of the game. So this first part is a huge stealth section, and you are supposed to go rescue Gina and then stealth with her past all of these Germans. But we will not take Gina with us because she is annoying and slow. So instead, I will run past all the Germans, and if you go immediately, like this, you actually get a guaranteed enemy placement that lets you run past everybody without getting discovered. So no need to sneak about. We make our way here to the scaffolding, and this is where you are supposed to use Gina to give her a boost, and then she will make available for you a whip attachment spot. But with some pixel walking on the wall here, you are able to make it up there without Gina. This is very precise though. There we go. No. Just barely not high enough. I will take it slowly because it is possible to fall behind the scaffold, sort of, and then you are stuck, so I don't want that to happen. There we go. Okay, and now for the big skip. So I will jump on this bit of wall and jump across, and now jump on top of this lamp. And from that lamp I can lower FPS to 24 and just barely vault to the top of this elevator and now get out of bounds. And now that I am out of bounds, I can slowly fall all the way to the bottom and skip everything intended in this level. It is very dark here, that's why I have the lighter out. And all the falling here is the reason why I need all that health. So I'll fall down here, then on top of this rock, slowly go sideways to fall on this little jagged piece of rock, and then strafe once again, fall on here, and make sure that Indy will sprint, because he likes to not sprint. Line myself up with the rock, and run forwards. Let's eat something. Yes. Now it will take 3 health to fall down here. And with the rest of the health, I can fall all the way to the floor of this cavern. There we go, this is the big Iraq skip. And since we entered this place from an unintended side, this is supposed to be crawling with enemies, but it isn't. So we can just run through this little encampment and enter the tent. And that will trigger a cutscene that will teleport us to the final boss fight, which is Voss. So we are on top of Noah's Ark, which they found, and they tried to use all the stones, but it went wrong, so now the world is flooding, and to stop it we have to fight Voss, who has the power of karate.
The gift of the Lord was a mind glass.
The most reliable way to defeat him is to parry his attack, because that gives you a large opening.
Fighting Jones. Pathetic. I know what to do. You couldn't let me outshine you.
And there's a little bit of RNG involved as well, because you need him not to do unparryable attacks like this one. Or he stole our whip, so if he uses the whip, that is a terrible waste of time. But this is the first phase. And now we go into the second phase, where we are hanging off the side of the ship, and we just have to kick him a couple of times. And the run will end when we grab Gina's hand and trigger a cutscene. I can't really predict when that will happen, so I will just call time. But it will be soonish.
Josh!
You need to work on your swing.
And time. GG. That was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Now, I hope you enjoyed the run. If you want to run this game as well, check out the leaderboard and join the Discord server. And I also want to shout out the Infernal Machine community and Discord, because my stream crashed in the last run, so you couldn't hear it. So if you want to run Infernal Machine as well, it's a separate Discord server. But in that community we do PC speedruns, we do N64 speedruns, and we also do modding for the game. We have a level editor for Infernal Machine, so if you want to make your own levels, you can do that as well. I hope you check out one of these games, and yeah, that's all from me. And also shout out to Matt, who was supposed to join me for commentary for this game, but sadly couldn't make it. But he found so much of the strats in this game. So shout out to Matt, and yeah, that is everything, I think.